Good day to you all beautiful people. How you all doing today? It's your girl, the Sensei Apparel. If this is the first time you're seeing this face or coming across my channel, you are welcome. And please do well to subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. And when you subscribe, hit the notification bell beside it so that you'll be the very first person to be notified whenever I post a new video. So, and to my returning subscribers, I cannot thank you enough. You guys are the real. Thank you for always watching my video, sticking around. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart. I thank you. So on today tutorial, I'm going to do some little explanation of what we are going to do. If you remember this mermaid dress I made here, if you haven't seen the video, just head over. I think I'm gonna leave the link in the description box below so that you watch the mermaid dress tutorial. I made it. Though I've loosened the half length, because I want to use it and recreate something else. I'm the type of person, yes, I made dresses, but I'm the type of person that love it simple. This mermaid dress that I made for this wedding, I will never wear it again. As in, even if I'm going to church, I don't like wearing a dress where I'll be walking and my clothes will be sweeping the whole floor. I will not be sweeping the mirror for people. No, I don't like it. So I want to recreate it because I love the material. It's kind of shiny and stretchy, so I love that beautiful. I don't just want to waste it that way. I want to use it to recreate something else. And the idea came to my mind when I finished making a dress with this fabric, and it's remaining 1.5. So I said to myself, if I combine these two materials, it's gonna make sense. So I said, why don't let me bring it here so that if you're a tailor, you have a dress, you don't like the styles, the material is big enough, you can actually combine it with another fabric to make something beautiful out of it. But on this particular style that we are going to make now, we're going to draft it on a pattern, then transfer to the material. Reason why we are going to do that is, I know most of my videos are freehand. There's some particular style you want to make, and again, if you are working with a limited, a small material, you are managing your material, you have to draft to the pattern so that you just transfer it on the fabric and cut. That way you manage your fabric very well. I think I'm going to do another video where I will explain the advantages and disadvantages of using freehand and drafting on a paper. When is it better to let me put it this way: the best way to draft on a pattern, the best time to draft on a fabric. I'm going to have another video on that and talk more on it. I don't want this video to be too lengthy, so I've not really figured out the exact thing I'm gonna make with this, but I know it's going to be more of that manipulation. Many patterns together, drafting different patterns together, piecing it and cutting it on this fabric to make a beautiful dress. So without much further ado, let's just head over to the video, to the tutorial. We're already on the video, to the tutorial. And so here I've marked out my basic bodice lines, the neckline and my vertical lines. I'll still explain all the line I mark so that you not get confused. I'm going to explain all the lines that I marked so you understand it properly. At this neckline, I use 3 by 3 inches for the neckline. For the neck width, I use 3 inches, and for the neck depth, I use 3 inches to make it. But you can use any neckline of your choice. But I use basic neckline 3 by 3. Then from that
shoulder line, I mark 8 inches. My shoulder is 16 inches, divided by 2 is 8. Then I came down from that 8 inches shoulder line by 1 inch to get the shoulder slant, because our shoulder is not straight. And from that 1 inch shoulder slant, I came down to get my chest line. From the shoulder to 10 inches is my bust point. That's my bust point. Then from the shoulder to 14 inches is my under bust length, and from the shoulder to 17.5 inches is my half length. That is what I measured. That is all the vertical measurement I marked. I'm going to write it out so that you understand it very well. That is my chest line. That place I wrote C. Please ignore the side my alphabet is facing, is because of how my camera was placed. Then after the chest line is the under bust. Next is after the chest line is my nipple point. After the nipple point is my under bust and my half length. That is what I just marked down. Now the next thing to mark now is my bust span, and my bust span is your distance between one nipple to the other. That is what I'm going to mark right now. But before we do that, we are going to create our armhole curve. So at that chest line, you measure your round bust circumference. Here my round bust circumference divided by 4 is 9.5. That is what I placed there. Then you measure from the 1 inch shoulder slant to that chest line. You measure it, whatever you have, whatever you get, you divide it into 2. Mine is 8, divided into 2 is 4. So you mark whatever you get, half of it. Then from that place you made a mark, half of that line, you come in by half inch. At that place you marked, you come in by half inch. Then you connect the 3 lines together. From the chest line to the half inch you came in, and to the shoulder slant, you place your curve ruler this way and connect the 3 points together. Trust me, if you create your front armhole like this, you are going to have a perfect armhole. So you draw out the curve properly, connect the 3 lines together. From the shoulder slant to the half inch you came in at that center, then to your chest line, just like so, our front armhole is formed. Next is to mark out our bust span, as I explained earlier before we went over to create the armhole. So what I mean by bust span is the distance from one nipple to the other. Mine is 8 inches. Mine is 8 inches. So I'm going to divide it into 2, then getting 4, because it is assumed that our pattern is folded into 2. So I'm going to mark 4. I will mark it at the waistline, the under bust, and the nipple point. That is where I'll mark it to. I'll mark it at the half length, at the under bust and nipple point. I use a line. I will use a ruler to connect it. Connect the 3 lines together. Use a straight ruler and connect the 3 lines together. Though I'm not going to use a waist dart, I'm using a bust dart for this style. I just drew out that bust span as a guide, because I want to use a bust dart. Then at that chest line, I marked 1 inch for sewing allowance, because I already marked out my round bust. Then at that under bust line, I marked out my round under bust divided by 2. I got 8. Then I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. It's a stretchy fabric, so I don't need much sewing allowance. Then on the waistline, I marked my round waist. My waist divided by 4 is 8.5. Then I marked the 8.5 there at my waistline. I mark it. Then I added 1 inch again for sewing allowance. So for the chest, under bust and waist, I used only 1 inch for the sewing allowance after marking out my round body circumference. Then I connected the lines together from the bust line, from the chest line to the under bust and to the waistline. Next thing I'm going to mark now is our bust dart, and Our front half length is 2 inches longer than the back half length because of the bust. So my front half length is 17.5 inches while the back half length is 15.5 inches. That is difference of 2 inches. So that difference of 2 inches, I'm going to place it at that bust point. From the bust point, I'm going to measure 2 inches from the bust point. I'll mark out 2 inches. That is what I'm marking right there. Then from that 2 inches I come down by, I will connect it to the bust point at that bust span. That was the reason I told you people I mark out that bust span, so that I will use it as a guide for the bust dart. Then from that 2 inches, connect to the bust point, just like you see me do, just like so. Connect, but we are going to be eliminating that 2 inches dart. We are going to be eliminating it, taking it away. The next thing I'm going to do is to do some little adjustments at the neckline. Initially I used 3 for the neck depth and 3 for the neck width, but I later adjusted it to 3.5. I added extra half to the neck width and also added extra half to the neck depth. That is what I'm marking right there. I will mark out the half inches and connect both. I will connect both of them together from the neck depth to the neck width because I want it to be a little bit free. That was why I adjusted the neckline to 3.5. Initially I used 3. So the next thing we're going to do now is to get the style we want for our front part. You're going to decide how you want your own, but this time I want to make it this way. From the under bust I came down by 2 inches. I came down by 2 inches from the under bust. Then the next thing I did at that neckline, from the half inch I went in by, from that neckline I went in by 1.5 inches. From that 3.5 neckline I went in by 1.5 inches. Then I'm going to connect from that 1.5 to the 2 inches I came down by at the under bust. I'm going to connect it with a slanted line. That is what I'm going to do now. So I'll bring my ruler, I'll bring my straight ruler and connect from that 1.5 inches to the 2 inches I marked. I came down by the under bust. I'll connect both 2 dots together with a slanted line, just like you see me do. So that is what I'm marking right there. To get this style I want, I'm going to cut it open. So that is how my front part will be. I'm going to cut that part open. So the next thing we are going to do now, our pattern is almost ready. We are going to cut it now. I'm going to cut first. The first part I'm going to cut is that center part. I'm going to cut it open. This is 1 and this is 2. I'm labeling it, though it's not that similar, you understand it, but for the sake of this tutorial I'm labeling. If you are doing that manipulation, always label it so that you'll not be confused. But this style is not that complicated because I'm working with a limited fabric. The pink material, I actually find out that it's not even up to 1.5 because it's been long I made it, so it's remaining just one yard. So that is why I'm not adding it much on this fabric. So here I'm still cutting out the neckline. This is the center front. That is what I'm doing. Our center piece is ready. Now is for us to work at the side front. If you notice, I'm not actually cutting directly on the lines I mark. Reason so that after closing the bust dart, I'm going to use the excess to blend my pattern. Don't cut if you have not closed your bust dart. Don't cut directly on the line, so that when you close, because if you close the bust dart, you find out that you are running shortage of fabric. So it's better you leave like ½ inch or 1 inch while cutting for the side, so that after closing the bust dart you will blend it, then cut it out properly. Then I cut the shoulder line. Then after cutting out everywhere except that 1 inch I left at that side, I'm going to open up the bust dart. I'm going to use my scissors and open it up at that bust point line, then so that I can close it, blend it and cut out the excess 1 inch allowance I left while cutting. I'll cut it up to the bust point, up to that bust span. Then I'm going to close it up like this. You can use a tape to hold it or use a pin to hold it if you don't have your tape. So this is the way you close it. Make sure that 2 is inside. You eliminate that 2 inches dart. Then when you close it, this is how it will look like. I'm going to bring my tape right now and close it. Then after closing the dart, here I'm using my tape to hold it down. I'm using my tape to hold it. This is how it will look after you finish closing it. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to blend out that place that is shortened. That was why I told you to leave like half or 1 inch extra allowance, so that after closing the dart, that place that is shortened, you use your marker, your pencil, anything to blend out the line properly before you cut it. That is what I'm doing right there. I'm blending out the shortage. Then after that, I will now use my scissors to cut it out. I'm trying to adjust my paper properly very well. This is how your own will look like after you finish closing the dart. Then I will now cut out that excess allowance. I will now cut directly on the lines I marked. I'm now cutting directly on the lines that I marked. So cut out all the excesses after you finish closing the dart. This is how to close the bust dart. I'm now cutting out all the excess allowance. And when we are done cutting, this is our front piece. This is what it will look like. That is our center, and that will be the side. The center will be cut on fold, so it will be like a V shape, and the side will be cut into 2. So this is our front piece ready. This is how it will look like. We'll take it out now and work at the back. So for the back piece, I already marked the basic bodies, the neckline, the chest line and the half length. We are not marking any bust. I didn't mark bust point or under bust at this half at the back because we don't need it for the back. So I'm going to explain it too. For the back, I used the same 3 inches for the neck width, but I came down by 1.5 for the neck depth. For the chest line, I'm blending it so that you'll be able to see it very well. So that is my chest line, and that is my armhole curve. For the back armhole, you don't come in by half inch because our back is not deep like the front. So that was why you just measure your round bust and place your bust measurement and just connect with a slight curve. And for the length of the back is 15.5 inches as I told you, because our back half length and the front is not the same. What I'm marking right there is my bust span, as I explained. My bust span is 8 inches, so I'm marking 4 at that bust span. The same 4 inches I use for the front is what I'm marking at this back to get our back dart, because our back is going to have a waist dart, though I'm still going to eliminate it. So that is what I'm marking out. I placed it, I connected it to the chest line. That is where my dart will stop, and on that waistline I took out half inch on both sides. I took out a total of 1 inch for the waist dart, so I marked half inch on both sides. Then I'm going to connect it with a straight ruler to the chest line. That half inch, I'm going to connect it to the chest line just like you see me do. So I'm totally removing 1 inch for the waist dart. That is what I'm marking. That is our waist dart. Then after that, for the neck width, that thing I did in the front, because I marked the same 3 inches for the neck width, so I'm going to do that same adjustment I did for the front. I'm still going to come in by 0.5 inches, that is half inch. As you remember, at that front part I used 3 inches initially for the neck width, but I later adjusted it to 3.5. that is what I'm doing here. So I'm also adjusting the back neck width to 3.5, so that the back neck width and the front neck width will be the same. But for the depth, back neck depth, I did not adjust it. I want to use 1.5. I don't want the neck depth to be too deep, that is why. But the neck width for the front and the back must be the same. Then at that chest line, I already mark out my round bust at 9.5 inches. That is what I'm just showing you right now. Then I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'm using the same inch sewing allowance, the same 1 inch. So I want to mark at the waistline, but before I do that, I'm going to close the dart, because I don't want my dress to have a dart. I don't want it to have a dart. So I want us to close the waist dart on the pattern before marking out my body measurements. That is what I'm doing right now. So after opening up the waist dart this way, you close it like this and use a masking tape to hold it, just like the way we did for the bust dart. This is the way you close it. When you open it, close it with your tape. Then after that, I marked my round waist and added 1 inch for allowance. Then I connected from the chest line to the waistline. I connected the lines together. At this point, I was thinking, because the pink material is not really 1.5 yards but just 1 yard, so I was thinking whether to divide the back into 2. I said, let me just cut it first, let me continue the pattern drafting till I reach cutting the fabric. Then I will know what to do, whether to leave it this way or to divide it into 2. Then the next one to work on is the down part, and it's starting from your half length to the full length of your dress, wherever you want your dress to get to. So I'm going to explain the lines. This is the waistline, this is the hip line, this is the knee line, and this is the full length. So after that, I'm going to show you how I got the hip length. From the half length to 9.5 inches is my hip length. Then from the half length to 22 inches is my knee length. Then from the knee length to 28 inches is my full length. This is how I got the length. Then I'm going to mark my horizontal measurement. That is my round waist, my round hip, my round knee. Then at that waistline, I mark my round waist. My round waist divided into 4 is 8.5. there, that is what I marked there, and added 1 inch for the sewing allowance, just like I did at the upper part. I don't want to use that. Then on the hip, I measured my hip divided by 4, placed it there, and added 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then on the knee, I just measured my round knee. Whatever I got, I added 1 for the sewing allowance. But another way to do it is the same thing you got at the hip. You mark it at the knee and minus 1.5 inches. Whatever you mark at the knee is what you mark at your full length. That is what you mark. So you either measure your round knee, or you measure the same thing you measure at the hip and minus 1.5. Then for us to get the kind of shape I want, I initially wanted to use my curve ruler, but it wasn't giving me what I want. Then I decided to use my free hand to sketch the design I want. This is how I was sketching it. I want the design to start from the hip area. So from the hip line, I came in and used the curve and drew it down to the full length, just like so. I'm going to use this pattern to cut for both front and back. This curve side, I'll cut it into 4, 2 for front and 2 for back. Then the center, 2 for the front and back. Our pattern is ready. It's now time for us to cut. And when we were done cutting, this is what we have. This curved side will be 4, while the center part will be 3, 1 for front and 2 for back. At this point, I decided to do that adjustment I want at the back. I decided to just curve out the design I want, but I will not curve it out. When I finish cutting out what I want on the fabric, if there is any peak remaining, then I will split it into 2. So I did not cut it, I just gave it the design first. Next is to assemble all our patterns together and place on our fabric and cut out with this right sewing allowance we need for it. And when I was done cutting, this is what we have. I've cut all of my patterns together. These are all our patterns, and I added all the necessary sewing allowance. This is the curved side. I cut it into 4, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. As I explained when we were drafting, I cut it and added 0.5 inches to join it at the center. Then next is the center front and center back of the down part. This is the one on top with the folded edge is the front piece, while the one at the down part is the back piece. It is being cut into 2 with the zipper allowance, and at the curve area I added 0.5 inches for the sewing allowance. This is the front one, and the one at the down part with the 1 inch sewing allowance is the back one. It is 3, 1 for the front and 2 for the back. That is what I cut there. So the next one now is this is the side front. The side front, I also added 0.5 inches at the place I will use to join, and this is the center front. I did not cut it, I cut it in block form so that I will adjust it very well. And this is the zipper allowance for the upper part, the 0.5 inches for joining it. So when you cut your own draft on a pattern, remember to join all the necessary allowances. This is the shoulder joining allowance, and the 0.5 inches at the down part is to join it to the skirt part. So we are now ready. Our pattern is now ready. The next thing for us to do now is to head over to the machine and start joining our pieces together. The first one we are going to join now is the front part of the upper bodice. Yes, I'm going to join both of them together. Remember to notch the bust point of both sides, notch the bust point and the under bust point, so that when you join it, it will align properly. And before I join it, I'll first of all go and join the 2 sides together. I'll join the 2 sides together before attaching the center piece. And also, if you notice, that center piece, I did not cut it in that slanted form. I cut it in a block form, so that if you are sewing something like this, cut it in a block form. It will be easier for you that way. Here I'm done joining the 2 front sides together, and if you notice, I did not sew all of them. I left 0.5 inches at that upper part where I will join to the center front. I'm going to explain to you the reason why I left it. I'm going to explain to you the reason why I did not sew it. Leaving it this way will help you. After sewing it, you have a perfect finishing at the end. So let's go over now. Let me show you how you attach the center front to the side front very well. This is the 2 sides you sew together. Open it up this way, then bring out the center piece, unpin it, then place it inside the 2 sides. When you are done placing it, this is what it will look like after sewing. This is what you want to achieve. So this is how you are going to join it. This is the way you are going to join it. You are going to bring that 2 sides, open it up with that 0.5 inches you left, open it up this way. Then you bring that center front this way and place both right side facing each other. open it up this way, that's 0.5 inches you left. Then bring that center front and place it this way. This is the way you place it. You place it this way and pin. You work with your pin here. Place it this way and pin. Some excess of that center front will be coming out, but ignore it. It's not a problem because we actually added excess. We cut it in a block form instead of a slanted line, so that excess block form is going to be showing at the back when you pin it this way. And also remember, look at that notched, the notch part I told you to notch at the underbust. Make sure you match the notch at the underbust and the notch at the bust point together for the side front and center front, so that after sewing it, it will be aligned very well. This is my notch at the bust point, the notch for both the front and the side front and the center front. Match it or match both sides together very well and pin just this way as I pinned it. Now this is how it will look like, and sew from one edge to the other and turn to the other side. I will pin to the other side just like as I pin to the other side. I will turn it out this way and place it just the exact way I placed for the other side. I'll match both underbust together, the notch at both sides, and match also the bust point and pin it up. I'm pinning it up. This is the bust point of the other side, and I will sew everything together after pinning it up. I'll sew from one end to the other and sew from one end to the other. This is it after pinning it. This is how it will look like. You sew from one end. I'm trying to align it properly. Make sure everything align. Ignore the excess is coming out. It is bound to come out, so you cut it out after sewing. And after pinning it, this is what it looks like. I've not even sewn it. This is, see how beautiful it looks. I've not even sewn. If you place it this way, trust me, at the end of the day you have a neat work. Now let's go over to the machine and sew. And when we were done sewing, this is it. This is our back. This is the inside. See how neat it is. See that sharp edge at that point. See, look at it. This is why I told you to ignore the excess, because we added that block. We are going to cut it out. You see how beautiful it looks at the wrong side. This is the wrong side, and when we turn it over to the right side, this is what we have. This is what the right side looks like. This is it. See the sharp edge. See how beautiful it looks. Next is to work on the back. Well, I'm going to cut out the excesses later. Now let's work on the back. This is our two back piece. The back is not that complicated. You just join the both side, one part of the side back and one side of the center back, and join together using the 1/2 inch. And after I finish joining it, this is what we have. This is what our back looks like, neatly joined. The next is to eliminate that zipper bulge at the back. You know our back is not straight. This is how to eliminate it. From the down part of that zipper allowance area, I went in by 1/2 inch at that 1 inch zipper allowance at the side back, and using a slanted line like a dart, I will extend the line upwards and mark it. And this is how I got the line, the length where I will stop the slanted line. I measured from the upper part to 5 inches, then measure from the upper part to 5 inches. Then at the down part, you come in by 1/2 inches and use a slanted line to connect from that 5 inches downwards to the 1/2 inch at that down part, and I will cut it out. Next thing I did is to turn my neckline. I cut out a pieces the width is 1.5 inches and the length is enough length that I need. I'll use the pink to turn for the front and use the blue to turn for the back, because the neck area for the front is pink, so I'll use pink, and the neck area for the back is blue, so I'll use blue. I cut it like in a bias form. I'm going to fold it, sew it and fold it this way. This is how I'm going to sew it. I'll sew it and show us what it looks like when we are done. This is how I'm going to sew it. I've already sewn one side of the back neckline. I'm going to fold this way, just the way we do fold for our bias, and I'll sew it down this way. That is how I want my neckline to look. And when I was done turning the neckline, this is what the neckline looks like. This is our front neckline. I'm done turning it with the bias I cut with the fabric I used in a bias form, and this is the back. After cutting out the zipper pouch area and turning the neckline, I use the 1-inch zipper allowance to join it, because I want to shape both front and back together before making the down parts. That is how I want to that's how I want to sew it. So I'll place the back on top of the front. Next is to join both front and back at the shoulder before shaping it out. That is the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to place the front on top of the back and shape it out the shoulder with 0.5 inches that I added while I was drafting. I'm going to sew it this way from one shoulder to the other using 1/2 inch. And here I'm done joining both front and back at the shoulder using 1/2 inches, and at the side I already marked the 1 inch I added when I was drafting. I added the 1 inch. I'm going to use the 1 inch to shape both sides together and show us what it looks like. And when I was done shaping it, this is what I have. After using the 1 inch sewing allowance I added, I shaped it down. I sewed that down shock area that I marked using 1 inch. I sewed it, and this is what it looks like. The next now is to go and work on the down part, our skirt part. This is our piece. We are now going to work on the skirt part. For this skirt part, the pink material, I cut it into 4 because I want to use 2 for the front and 2 for the back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out 2 and keep aside so that I can work with the 2. Right now I'm going to remove the pattern and take out 2 and keep the remaining 2 I'm going to work on first. Then after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to bring the center, the blue material I'm going to use for the center. I cut it into 3, 1 for the front part and 2 for the side back because of the zipper allowance. So I'm going to remove the one for the front and let's work on the one for the back first. The first thing I'm going to do is to open up the back area. Yes, the first thing I'm going to do now is to open up the back area this way. Then after opening it, I'll bring the one I'm going to the pink material I'm going to use for the 2 sides, place it on both sides. This is how I'm going to sew it. I've joined both sides together. This is how I'm going to sew it. Then I'll join it at the close the zipper allowance area. Then the front part, I'll bring it and open it this way. The same thing I did for the back. I'm going to bring the pink fabric and join it this way using the 1/2 inches allowance. Now let's head over and sew using the 1/2 inch allowance we added. And this is it when I was done joining it. This is the back. I was done joining it using the 0.5 inches allowance I added. That curved area, I'm still going to notch it so that it will relax very well. And when you open it, this is it. This is the zipper area, the 1 inch zipper area. I close it with a loop stitch at the upper part because I'm still going to lose it to attach the zip. And this is what the inside looks like. This is what it looks like. And when I turn it at the right side, this is what our back skirt looks like. Then the front, over to the front, same thing I did for the back I did for the front, just that the front does not have zipper allowance. The front is just 3-piece. I used the 0.5 inches and I used it to join both the center and the side together. And at that cuff area for the front, I'm still going to notch it. Any cuff area you have while sewing, always remember to notch it so that your cuff area will relax properly. What I'm going to do now is to bring that back piece and place on top of the front piece. I use the 1-inch sewing allowance to shape it down. That is what I'm going to do next. I brought the back part and I place it on top of the front. Here, after placing both together and lining very well, I didn't use the 1-inch sewing allowance. I later adjusted it to 1.5 inches because this is a stretchy fabric. It can be funny at times, so it's stretchy very well. So I added extra 1/2 inches. It will still size me because it's very stretchy, so I used 1.5 inches instead of the 1-inch allowance I added earlier. So I'm going to sew on these chalk parts now. I'm going to sew on the shock area. We'll sew it from the waist to the full length and sew it from the waist to the full length, just like you see me pointing now. I'll shape it and come and show us what it looks like. And after shaping it, this is what we have. This is the front part of our skirt part. This is it, so beautiful. This is it. And when you turn it to the back, this is what it looks like. So fine. The next thing we are going to do now is but first, you see this side, this curvy area, make sure that you match the one for the front and the one for the back. See it, make sure you match it very well. Like this one now, it matches very well. See this side and see the other side. That was why I made the dress separately, the upper and down parts separately, so that I will align everything very well. Make sure you match the curvy area for the front and the back together. The next thing to do now is to join the upper bodies to the down parts. That is what we are going to do now. Next is to attach the upper bodies and the down bodies together. That is the next thing to do. But you first of all open the zipper allowance for the upper bodies that I closed. I opened it up, and for the down part, I also opened the zipper allowance area where the zip will get to at the back, at the down part. Then I opened the sides a bit. For this down part, both sides, and I did the same thing for the front. I opened the sides a bit so that I can join front to front and back to back. Next thing I did is the front part of the skirt. I held it together this way, placing the two sides together. The two sides of the front, I placed it together to get the middle point of the front, the down part of the front. Then after you fold it this way, match it up very well so that you get the center. After getting it, I use the chalk to mark the center so that I can place the front side of the upper part to the front side of the down part. I already know the center for the upper part because of it has joining. Then I'll align it and sew from one end to the other. For the side, for the front part, I will sew from one side to the other, matching the two center points of the upper part and the down part together. That is how I'm going to join the upper bodies and the down bodies together. Then for the back part, you join the one side of the back of the upper part to the one side of the back of the down part, match the zipper allowance together and sew from one side to the other. And you also do the same thing for the side. You bring it and match the zipper allowance for one side and sew it from the side to the other. I'm going to use the half inch I added at the upper part, join it together and come and show us what it looks like right now. I'm going to join both of them together. And after joining the upper bodies and the down bodies together, this is what we have. This is our dress, almost done. It is now remaining the sleeve and hemming the down part. The sleeve, and also here I've already attached the zip.
I've attached the zip. I used a machine color zip, blue, to join it. Then for the sleeve, I was thinking, because my material was already exhausted, so I don't know the kind of sleeve I'm going to use, whether it's a basic sleeve. If you're making such style, you can use any type of sleeve you want. So I'm going to attach the sleeve with any pieces I find, fold the down part, and place it on a mannequin for us to see the final look of our dress. And this is the final look of our dress on the mannequin. I used the basic sleeve for it. I used the blue material, joined some pieces and made a basic sleeve. I didn't want to just leave it at a basic sleeve, so I found some pieces, the pink pieces, and used it as a strap and joined to the basic sleeve to make it a bit stylish. But feel free to use any type of sleeve you want for it, and let me know in the comment section about what you think about the dress we recreated, and let me know if you are going to be recreating your own. Your own might be more beautiful. I want your own, not even might be, I want your own to be more beautiful than my own. We have come to the end of this tutorial. If you found value for this tutorial, which I know you did, please subscribe to my channel if you have not, and like the video. Please give it a thumbs up. That is the only way to help my channel grow, so that other people will be able to see the video by liking it. And comment what you think about the video. And this is me when I wore it to church. See how it look now. It's so beautiful. You can wear it to church, as a corporate, and as anywhere you want to use it to go. See you again in my next video. Thank you. Bye.